Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's live session on the current affairs happening in India and in the world. I'll be picking up the newspaper every day and quickly going through the pages, trying to identify which are those news which are important from the viewpoint of a student preparing for various entrance examinations which have current affairs as one of the sections, and also try to think of topics related to those news which have to be studied better, right? So without further ado, let's start today, the 6th of June 2025. The front page was an advertisement. I'm obviously going to skip that. The main news seems to be FIR against RCB over stadium deaths. Bangalore top cop suspended. Now, obviously, very macabre, very sad news and very sensationalist. So, the details of that are definitely not going to be too relevant. But what are the important points which I can pick up from this title? One, I should understand what is the meaning of an FIR. So, for law aspirants, the term FIR or First Information Report is absolutely an important term which they should know about. So, one, you must read upon what is meant by the FIR. And FIR against RCB. So, RCB is obviously an IPL team, the Royal Challengers Bangalore, right? So, second, you must read up on what is the IPL or the Indian Premier League, a T20 format of cricketing series which is loved by crores of people across India. This was the 18th edition this year, and Royal Challengers Bangalore (RCB) was the team led with its star player Virat Kohli, which lifted the trophy for the first time. So, although the macabre news is not very important, the facts such as what is an FIR, what is the IPL, which team lifted the trophy this year are the important things. On the right to that, we have something about Trump issuing travel ban on 12 countries, right? So, from this, I must first of all understand that Donald Trump is the elected president of the United States of America, and a lot of international issues are arising because of tariffs which have been imposed by Mr. Trump on different countries. So, go up, read up on what is a tariff, right? So, first, the third thing is what is meant by a tariff, why is a tariff important, and what exactly is the issue which is plaguing the countries, and what impact it has on various economic relations is something which you must absolutely know about. Okay, if I quickly peruse the article, it says Trump has a very positive 90-minute phone talk with Xi Jinping. So again, who exactly is Xi Jinping? He's the premier of which nation? This is agree on talks to break impasse on tariffs. So vocabulary is also extremely essential, right? There are certain terms of vocabulary which you can easily identify. So the vocabulary word that you must learn is what is meant by an impasse, a deadlock, a gridlock or a deadlock between two entities. So what exactly is the meaning of the word impasse? Okay. The second issue is the problem with international students in the US, and Harvard University has been at the center of this storm. So, what exactly is the Harvard issue? What exactly is Harvard University? Why is it one of the most reputed educational institutions in the world? And how exactly is it in the news regarding its admission to international students is something you can briefly read upon. Okay. Then there is a subheading in that same article about Musk blasting the president for ingratitude. So, definitely Elon Musk, a controversial name, probably the richest person on planet Earth right now. Read up on who Elon Musk is, how is he connected to important brand names such as SpaceX, in space exploration, Tesla in electric vehicles, what was his connection with PayPal, what is the Boring Company, and so on and so forth. So from this one single news, we have these important things so far. Another sub-heading on the same article was Shehbaz wants Trump to arrange talks with India. So the Prime Minister of Pakistan's name is mentioned here. So again, three heads of nations have been mentioned in this particular article. And very important to learn the names of the heads of nations. Of course, starting with India, then the US, UK, France, Germany, Russia, and other important nations, or at least nations which are in the news. They have some sort of relationship with us. So Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, so on and so forth. Okay. A very interesting news below that is the population data to pave way for nationwide delimitation. Now, delimitation, I believe, is going to be in the news for a very long period of time. So, what exactly is meant by delimitation? So, let's read this article. It definitely seems interesting. It says population data returned by the upcoming Census 27, which is due to begin on so and so date, will pave the way for countrywide delimitation of Lok Sabha and Assembly constituencies. So, the census of 2027, a very important thing. Census is when you literally count every single individual in your population. So, when exactly did the census begin? Which agency is responsible for conducting the census? What is the current population of the country? When was the last census conducted? What are the changes which are going to be made in collection of data? Very, very interesting things you will come across when you read all that information. And what exactly is meant by the nationwide delimitation? So there are certain constituencies, right? There are fixed number of constituencies in the parliament when we talk about the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha. And how exactly are these constituencies decided? What is the basis for deciding which areas fall under a particular constituencies? Now, population happens to be one of the prime reasons for determining which area is which particular constituency, and the number of seats is based on that. So, how exactly is this going to affect the number of elected representatives to the parliament is something which will be very interesting to follow. Okay, now if we move ahead, then some COVID related minor news. High Court questions the legality of influencers arrest. Seems a little bit of sensationalist type of news, but from that particular thing, what takeaway I have is I will definitely try to read up on what is meant by the interim bail, and I will also get the prompt that courts, the legal system of India is something which I have to know. So, who is the Supreme Court Justice? Who's the Chief Justice of India, current Chief Justice of India? What is the hierarchy of the courts? At what base level does it start? How do you move up the ladder? So on and so forth. Are some static information, some current affairs related information, which I would definitely pick up from this particular news. Okay. Then one another thing is Dassault tie up with Tata to make Rafale jet fuselage. Okay, minor. Intel sharing government agencies essentials says NSAB chairman. So I will just quickly try to read up on what exactly is the NSAB, right? The National Security Advisory Board, and who is currently the chairman. Mr. Alok Joshi currently is the chairman, but I'll just read up on what is the NSAB, what are its functions, and who is the current head. And then at the bottom of the front page, we have something related to the Axiom 4 mission, right? So I'll just quickly read a couple of paragraphs from this article to understand what is meant by the Axiom 4 mission. So Axiom 4, what exactly? It's a space related thing. Definitely I'll read up on. In the news digest, we have information about monsoon, Sensationalist, so a lot of sensationalist news. So I'll quickly move on to the next page, skipping the ads. The city related information now for national level entrance examinations, definitely city level sensationalist news related to crime and stuff is not very relevant. So I'm going to skip over all that. On the next page, we have again city related information, not very relevant. Then we come to the state level information, which is Gujarat. Okay, so let's pick up certain words, certain points which we can understand from this. Now we have something related to the Manrega scam. Now, although the scam by itself may not be very important, I will definitely read up on what is Manrega, the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, right? Then we have all crime related information on this page, which is definitely not too relevant. Then an entire advertisement on the next page, which I'm going to skip. Now we come to the nation related page. Okay. The top information is Russia buys Trump's claim that he brokered India-Pakistan truce. Okay, I'm not too concerned about claims being made by people, but a couple of important points that I can pick up from this is who exactly is the head of state for Russia, and this is definitely related to one of the most trending news items, which is Operation Sindoor. So because a lot of information related to Operation Sindoor has been in the news, so you definitely would do well to read up on what exactly was Operation Sindoor, why was it necessary to conduct it, what were the agencies which are part of it, what was the outcome, so on and so forth. Okay, then we have a lot of sensationalist news again, which does not seem too relevant. Okay, moving on to the next page. Okay, Jharkhand government hospital, no. Killer set free, no. Kerala government skips governor event, no. But although that particular news is very sensationalist and not relevant from the point of view of exams, what I can try to understand is who are the governors of the various states of India? How is the governor appointed? What is the role that the governor plays as far as the administration of the state is concerned? So those are certain static information which I will definitely pick up on. Okay. Then we again have news related to assaults and other things, not very relevant. Okay. Then we come to the next page, which is again based on it's a time special, and the main thing is Delhi's ridge keeps dying even as courts and citizens keep fighting. So what exactly is this news? Right, it doesn't seem like a very current affairs kind of thing, but I will definitely go through this particular article because it seems like an opinion piece and a lot of statistics and numbers are given, and at least as far as entrance examinations like the CLAT is concerned, the common law admission test often picks up paragraphs and asks you questions related to that. In fact, it would be very interesting to read this article because I definitely would use this as one of the sources to come up with probably a reading comprehension passage. So let's see whether a few vocabulary based words can be picked up from this passage. Okay, so couple of words which I quickly see is I see the word apathy. So what is apathy? Encroachment and enforcement. Okay, it talks about a pollution happening in Delhi. It, this is probably the related to the geography of Delhi. It gives a lot of background details and numbers. So I will then pick up on the word. The word morphology has been used. So what exactly is meant by the word morphology? Okay, so although I'm not going to read this complete thing in too much of detail, I would definitely recommend that you read this particular article for reading comprehension purposes. Okay, then we move on to the next nation related page. Okay, doesn't seem to be very relevant. Now we come to the middle pages, right? Stats of the nation, and there is a center column on India census 2027. So we have already seen when it came to the delimitation article that census 2027 was mentioned, and this gives the views of two gentlemen. Now mostly the center articles or the editorials or op-eds, opinion pieces, provide two views, view and counter view on the same topic. So it would be very, very interesting to read up the center page articles. And today's article is about census, politics, and policy, where it says the party at the center may not rush through the entire process. It claims that some opposition parties may want larger house numbers, more people, that means more constituencies in the north. And there is an opinion that population based rejig of Lok Sabha seat share. So again, a very interesting word, rejig. What does it mean? Rejig of Lok Sabha seat share can weaken the government's moral authority, and the caste count will be a big methodological challenge. So what exactly is the opinion of the two experts who have put down their views on this particular issue is something which would be interesting to read. So, and because this issue has already been mentioned in one of the front page articles, this is something which I would definitely keep my eye on. And whenever I come across data related to it, I would make sure that I update myself. Then on the left, we have an article, why two high court observations on freedom of expression make for troubling reading. Okay, that definitely should be an interesting article for students of law. So those who are giving law entrance exams like the common law admission test should definitely go through that particular article. The second, Northern Crown, with the subline, government did well to address some of Ladakh's concerns and remaining issues must be resolved sensitively, also seems to be a very interesting article. And from this, because it has mentioned Ladakh, and just a few years back, with the abrogation of a particular article, and I leave up to you to find out which one I'm talking about, we actually had new states, UTs emerging. The internal lines of India actually changed, and Ladakh was one of them. So this article definitely merits a read. Okay. Then moving ahead. There seems to be another article based on some sort of history. Mr. and Mrs. Sundara, Mavericks of the Sky. Okay, so the first word which I'm going to pick up is the word Maverick. Top Gun fans, uh, Tom Cruise fans definitely know that Maverick is the call sign for Tom Cruise's character in the movie Top Gun. But what exactly does this term mean? If are you aware of that? If not, just go and look up, because it's a very, very interesting word, right? And it says 77 years ago in June, the couple created a speed record by flying a Dow piston aircraft from UK to India in 27 hours to deliver it to the Madras government. So it could be a very interesting read, right? It gives you some idea about the history, and definitely I will go with this. Other than that, it's talking about monsoon, not important. Acquittal of a man, acquittal in a case where a man died, no, not important. Okay, quickly moving ahead then. Times at the rate techies. Now, a lot of tech information seems to be on this particular page. How exactly is that going to be relevant? Let's go through that. On the top, there is a small opinion piece by the global lead for data and AI at Accenture. So this will not take you more than a minute. Is AI reshaping the world? The opinion seems to be that personified AI will elevate customer experiences. So this is a great topic for group discussions, even in personal interviews. There's a very good chance that they might ask your opinion on certain tech things like AI, or how AI is making a change in the business. So reading an article like this will help you form more opinions on this topic. So 100% I'm going to recommend. It will not take you more than a minute, in fact less than that. So definitely read up on this article. Okay. And then below that, India's R&D hubs are hidden architects of AI technology. Okay. AI needs a lot of engineers to operationalize. So this definitely would be an interesting article to read to understand more about technology and its relevance to business. Below that, we have something related to career ladder for women. Now, this article would definitely be useful when it comes to group discussions, when it comes to personal interviews, answering your opinions on certain matters. So again, this one is worth reading. And then there is a highlighted column called Glossary of In-Group Terms used on this page. And they themselves have given a good explanation on what is ERP, or Enterprise Resource Planning. So it will take you like 20 seconds, but read it up. And then Delhi NCR powers global financial services ops. Finance. Maybe if you're interested in finance, maybe if you're interested in commerce, maybe if you're interested in fintech or business, then I would recommend you go through this article. Then in business, the main line on top is Flipkart gets RBI's license to lend. Okay. FinPlay Boost, Walmart owned company, first major retailer to secure NBFC license. So what is meant by NBFC? Non-banking financial something, right? So reading up on that is definitely nice. It says till now Flipkart offered credit products through partnerships with banks and NBFCs. Now they themselves have the license to lend. Okay, so that should definitely be a big thing for India's retail sector, for India's banking and financial sector. So I would very strongly recommend for students, especially interested in finance, to go through that. Okay. Companies selling stakes, Apple ropes in Tata Group for iPhone repair, QCOM market to triple, interest rates cut, post vacant. Okay, none of that seems to be very interesting. Then we have the global page, where I'm definitely going to go through all the articles, at least the headlines, because the first one, US China to resume trade talk, Trump after Xi's call. Okay, now that is related to the tariff war which I previously talked about, right? So US and China were definitely having a lot of back and forth regarding tariffs. So this, I would peruse the title, and in fact there's a beautiful centerpiece which gives you the history of what has happened. So these are that would be an interesting read. Okay, then again you have President Trump seems to be the focus of this entire page, because you have a photograph of Trump and Putin, and the Ukraine-Russia thing has been mentioned. So one major news which has dominated headlines is the war between Ukraine and Russia. So what was the background of this ongoing conflict? Who's the head of state for the two countries? So on and so forth would be very interesting to understand from this particular news. Okay. Then you also have Trump and the Harvard issue mentioned. I would read that. Musk's issue with Trump also, I will read that. Great. Then sports. With the recent IPL victory, of course, Virat Kohli is going to dominate the news a lot. but it just talks about opinions of people, no major victories. But when it comes to sports pages, the major news which I generally tend to follow are the various trophies or the various awards. So if any major award has been given to a person, I would follow up on that. Or if any major event like a World Cup or an IPL or a FIFA or Olympics, something like that is happening, then things which I would focus is who's the current year's victor? Has India participated? If yes, has India ever won? If yes, how many times? Who was the first ever winner? These are three general things when it comes to sports related news that I try to identify. Okay. Then moving ahead, we are on the last page where doesn't seem to be any major news. It just talks about the unfortunate incident which happened in Bangalore after RCB's victory in the IPL. Okay, the top one is the rain is over. Sabalenka ends Swiatek's 26-match French Open unbeaten streak to set up final clash with Goff in Paris. Right. So that is the thing that I would focus on a bit. Who exactly is Swiatek and what was the French Open? So news related to the French Open or all the major slams, the Grand Slam, 4 of them is something which I would definitely focus on. So these are some of the news which came to my eye from one particular newspaper. Of course, I would recommend that you read one or more if you have access to them, or you can easily go and read them online and write down notes. Right, maintain a book where date-wise you write down notes and keep referring to them time and again. Because one common complaint that a lot of students have is that how do I remember news because it changes every day? How do I retain so much of information? Well, the trick is, although the news seems to change every day, certain news tend to be in the public eye for a longer period of time. For example, the US tariff issue or the Ukraine-Russia issue or Operation Sindhu. A lot of news related to that would remain in the news cycle for weeks together. So then you can dedicate a couple of pages where any major thing you can always club together. So then you will also get to understand that if something is dominating the headlines for a long period of time, then that is the kind of information which will also find its way into the entrance examination current affairs section. So that's all from me, Sathya, for today, which is the 6th of June 2025. I'll see you again tomorrow checking out the major news headlines.